Well, I'm a constitutional researcher. That's what I do for a living. And I knew nothing about Article 5 when I was a law professor, didn't teach it at all. But as I got into it and I learned how much power it gives the people acting through their state legislatures to make changes, I got very excited. Well, that people have power, and that Article 5 is a lot like voting. I mean, it's a constitutional right that we have, and just as people should be encouraged to participate in the process by going to vote, so they also should be encouraged to participate in the process by engaging through their state legislatures in Article 5. It's a right that the founders gave to us, and it's a right we have an obligation to exercise and to pass on to our children. You know, why do we have a Constitution if we don't use the Constitution? Would we say to the president, that you should never veto a bill? Would we say to the Senate that you should never refuse to pass a bill that the House of Representatives has adopted? I mean, the Constitution was designed to be an integrated system. All of it has to work, or none of it's going to work very well. Well, there are several different solutions, and they're all within the proposed application form of Convention of States. One is to impose fiscal restraints on the federal government. I mean, realistically, this is something we cannot defer anymore. We're facing a very serious situation fiscally, and so whether it's a balanced budget amendment or some other device, a convention called under the Convention of States application can consider that. Secondly, term limits. Polls show that something like 80% of the American people believe that we need term limits on members of Congress, and I think that you'd get similar numbers for example, imposing term limits on the Supreme Court. But experience has shown that Congress is not going to pass a bill for term limits on itself. So that means you need the Convention of States application to do that. And then finally, part of the Convention of States application is limiting or reducing the jurisdiction of the federal government. The federal government was designed to deal with certain tasks. It was never designed to be your local school board. It was never designed to make all kinds of health care decisions for you. And to the extent they've gotten involved in those decisions, then they're making poor decisions in the area that really are within the federal responsibility. And so that means that under the Convention of States application, the legislatures can empower commissioners to a convention to consider ways to pull back somewhat the scope of the federal government. Well, imagine a situation if you had a theoretical right to vote, but you didn't know where the polling places were, and nobody would tell you. Or that nobody could tell you could actually choose among the candidates or what district you could vote in. I mean, my job is to spread information about the rights that citizens have. And Article 5 is a very important right that was given to us by our founders for very good reasons in order to enable citizens to control and to improve their government. It wasn't that long ago when black people in the South were afraid to vote. I mean, it was a fear that they had. But what happened in the civil rights movement is that these people were empowered. They were encouraged to vote. They were told it was their right, that they needed to do this as American citizens. And this is very much the same situation. You know, naturally there are unnamed or fears out there for something that you haven't done for a while. But just like the civil rights movement energized people, so also now the Article 5 movement is energizing people to exercise their rights as American citizens. Hope is not a strategy and fear is not a strategy. What is a strategy is exercising the rights that our founders gave us.